Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Thursday the 17th of November 2022. Thanks for joining me. I want to use the Truth Seekers Tarot today, mainly because the colors are really bright and they have gold on them. Let me show you. And the reason I'm going to do that is where I live, the light is just so weak at the moment. I'm kind of solar powered. I do best during the day and sunlight is kind of important to me. And this is really a winter day. It's foggy. It's 2 p.m. I've waited especially a little bit later today to film, so the light is better, but nothing's materialized. So it looks like 8 a.m., but it's 2 p.m. Oh, isn't that cute? So yeah, I want to use these cards to kind of bring a colorful, cheerful vibe into my life and hopefully yours. But also, I do kind of like this time of year. I like it when it's all hazy and foggy. I was walking down the street yesterday and there was this huge street with all these trees on the side, and like this long row of trees, it just disappeared into the fog. It was very mysterious and kind of like something out of a story. I loved it. So let's see what the cards want you to know today then, and what energy you'll be working with. Okay. You know, this is strange, but I read symbols with the tarot. And the first message, even though I haven't even looked at the cards, is kind of to pay attention, especially when things go quiet. Something may be happening, and so subtly and quietly that you miss it. So paying attention on this day, I feel, is going to be important. Let's see. The Four of Cups. Oh, okay, I get what that is. So the message I'm getting is that you are super productive and focused on getting things done, your relationships, you're busy working, you're in the middle of your life. Like a harbor, it's busy, right? But there may be certain things going on behind the scenes, people you're working with, dynamics occurring behind the scenes that people won't speak about. And if you notice something emotionally, or if someone is really shut off, then the cards are saying, pay attention to what's really going on. Someone may not be saying something to you because they know that you wouldn't like the answer, or they know that you don't want to hear that kind of thing, that they've done something. And instead of telling you, they just don't. They do your thinking for you. Or you're sitting at the office and you're having a meeting and someone who's usually very chatty and open doesn't say anything, then it's a confirmation that something is probably really wrong, and that person could use some emotional support. Or the main message I'm getting is that people aren't going to be open about what they're feeling because they're currently in it. The pain is real, or you're the issue, or whatever it is. Being communicative is unlikely. And that's kind of interesting because there are certain situations in life where the person can't really speak. Like, for instance, if you're at a shop and an ice cream shop, right? And you're getting some ice cream and you're having a chat with the person at the counter and the manager is next to them. And you say, oh, you know, you're new at this job, they just told you that or whatever. And you're like, do you actually like your job? With the manager in earshot, no reasonable employee, I guess, would say, no, this is the worst job I've ever had. Because, I mean, that would put their job at risk. So it's much easier than to lie to the well-meaning person they're chatting with. But so, you know, it's that kind of thing. Don't take everything that you hear as true. And certainly if you're asking or inquiring because you feel something is wrong and you get the response, oh no, everything's fabulous and great, and your gut says something different, then please pay attention to that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Next, we've got the Queen of Swords. So not only are you intuitively very switched on, also in terms of your thinking, you're very black and white. You're very able to find the solution to a problem, but it seems like you're almost a bit strident. So that's interesting because that highlights this aspect that I mentioned a moment ago. You may not be the right person to get someone to open up. And it may be because of a work connection and there's some sort of power imbalance there, or you're the person's child or parent. Often an untruth can be spoken there because you don't want to hurt the other person or you know how they'll react. Again, it's that kind of doing other people's thinking for them. Or there could be a relationship in your life, because water is relationships, a romantic relationships, family, friendships, colleagues, anything like that, where you've behaved very strongly in the past, or you've reacted very strongly in the past. Like maybe your sister told you something in confidence, hoping for compassion and empathy, but instead you absolutely condemned her and became judgmental. It's 10 years ago, but this may be true for some people, for some not. The sister's having a similar problem, but she's certainly not going to come to you ever, or you'd like be the last person she'd come to with this kind of issue, because she remembers that reaction from 10 years ago. You may be really close. I'm just going to use that sister example. The sisters may be really close and talk to about each other about everything else, and their relationship may be much better than it was 10 years ago. But when it comes to this one issue, let's say the sister doesn't like the husband or thinks it's a bad match or something. She's never going to mention that one thing. So again, if you are the person who was super strident and you notice that something's really wrong, please consider that there may be something going on, but you're not being told about it. That doesn't mean it does not exist. So what's interesting today is these two cards are really highlighting that being compassionate and kind of putting yourself in the other person's shoes and trying to have some understanding of what they may be going through, that's really what's going to serve you. Usually the Four of Cups is a card that's about being shut off emotionally. Usually it's a young man sitting under a tree, and he appeared recently. You have great things going on in your life, but you can't feel it. You are just thinking about what hasn't worked or what's problematic. The perspective is off. In this case, we've got a harbor with all these ships going about their business. And I feel that you may not see, well, the ships for the harbor, the wood for the trees, because you're so invested in what you're doing and you're trying to juggle everything that you have no idea of what you're feeling. Oh, so wow, that's getting very complicated. Okay, so if you're super clued into what's going on for other people and you're aware of that, but then you have no understanding of your own feelings, then again, you're not a useful person to give advice or to counsel someone or to pry into their business, because that kind of makes you a hypocrite. If you're telling someone, oh, talk to me about your feelings, but you're deliberately shutting down your own and saying, oh, well, I don't feel anything, the conversation isn't going to go well, first of all, because you're not doing what you're expecting the other person to do. And also, if you're having a chat with someone who's super judgmental, it's not particularly fun, nor does it inspire you to open up even more. It makes you clam up because you're just about to get your head chopped off. No one's going to spill their guts if they're being threatened. Next, we've got the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands means the worst is behind you. So we've got this emotional weirdness where you're super switched on when it comes to others. In recovery, they call that doing other people's inventory. Like you're listing, oh, this is what's wrong with you. This is what you need to do. But then when it comes to turning that critical, keen gaze on yourself, it's like, oh, no. No. I don't have any problems. I don't need to change anything. So the main thing I would warn you about on this day then is this weird strident, like I've just landed from Mars kind of vibe, and I get to make these big statements and have opinions and tell everyone else how to run their lives. But when it comes to my past, my histories, my behavior in relationships, whatever, they don't apply. That really puts other people off. If someone gets a whiff of you doing that, you'll be called out on it, and it causes a lot of conflict usually. So I think it's, if you have a tendency to overdo it in the sense of A, B, C, I have the answers for everyone, I'm going to advise all of you what to do, that's not going to work today, and instead it's going to cause more problems. The Nine of Wands is about picking one thing that is inspiring to you and that works in your life, even though, or that's a dream, something that you want to pursue and that has eluded you up until this point, or it feels very difficult. In this deck, it's a ladder. So what the cards are saying, instead of getting involved in all of this, judging someone and then having that person tell you, well, aren't you judgmental? And it's like, well, I know what I'm talking, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on and on. Instead of focusing on that, focus on your hopes and dreams, because on this day with this ladder, you'll be able to make a lot of progress and understand the situation better from up here than you would down here. So working on your life purpose will change your perspective and will actually allow you to feel the good stuff in your life and the progress you've made. So that's the way to get your bearings, not by yelling at the other captains and saying, get out of my way. And then she's on board as well saying, oh, you need to wash your sails. Those are looking rather dirty, aren't they? How long has it been? No. Okay. So instead of focusing on all these interpersonal problems and conflict with other people, what is it that's important to me that I don't quite understand, that feels difficult? Let me work at it and I'll see something that I haven't noticed on this day. That clue will allow me to then understand what the next step up is, what the next ladder will be, so that I'm this much closer to living my dream life and getting what I want. Yeah. So you can be very productive and get a lot done, especially in an area that's important to you, meaning that has personal meaning to you. And if you notice this back and forth, around and round and round, that is just overly complicated and doesn't get you anywhere, my suggestion would be to try and engage with that as little as possible, or to delay it. Especially if it's something totally, like trivial or something. If you're in the middle of, you're having, major business problems and you're worried about paying the rent, and someone comes up to you and says, oh, I'm upset that you didn't call me back after I threw that dinner the other night. You could have called me to thank me. And you're like, excuse, what? I'm in the middle of fighting for my life here. Don't get into it. It's not going to make either person happy. Okay, 9 and 1 is 10, and 4 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5, and 5 in numerology is freedom. So working on your life purpose and on your dream, you'll make such great inroads that it feels like you're getting closer, and that will provide real freedom in your life. Then 2, you have the freedom not to engage with this. And by not engaging with nonsensical back and forths, you have the freedom for a much better day, or your ears have a bit of freedom from just a lot of conflict that is not useful. I mean, conflict is fundamentally something we have to have in order for change to occur, right? So the point of it fundamentally is that it's productive. But what I'm getting here is just a lot of misunderstanding and bridges being burnt. So if that's the case, then why go through the unpleasantness of the conflict? Yeah, so the freedom from the tendency to kind of point your finger and judge, or to all of those things that I mentioned, if those feel uncomfortable, then you can step back. And the Queen of Swords, the one thing that she does give you is this clarity of vision, but mainly when it comes to yourself and what you're doing, rather than turning it on other people. Yes. So I hope you have a great day. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. In my personal readings, I use the tarot, numerology, and astrology. So if you have any questions about your life purpose, or what's coming up in future, locations, relationships, anything at all, please do get in touch. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share it online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.